Just starting a walk up Glen Feshie, one of my favourite places in the Cairngorms. It's a pleasant May evening, a cool northeast breeze, some clouds, some sun. The paths are dry and dusty, and I don't expect there to be any problems crossing the several streams on the way. This is the first one. Sometimes I had to even go upstream to find a safe way across this. Today I expect I'll get across with my feet dry, and then on into the heart of the glen amongst all the wonderful regenerating trees. You can see some of them here, and find somewhere for tonight to camp in the forest, and then tomorrow head up onto the tops and have a camp somewhere up there. And I'm hoping that the change in this long period of dry weather that's forecast to come in maybe in a week's time does not arise early. And here is some sunshine, so that's encouraging. And up there, as you can see, there's a blue sky. Wonderful. This little stream is the Altgarvla. You can see it here running into the Feshie. When in flood, this becomes a ferocious torrent. There used to be a footpath across here that went neatly up the other side. You can see the top of it there. There was a little bridge across the stream, and it didn't look like this, but a flash flood brought down boulders, stones, torrents of water, swept away the path, swept away the bridge. And you can see it was probably 10 years or more ago. All these little trees have sprung up since then. And as you swing round, you can see on the far side there are various ways down from up there. The original path came down on the edge of that cliff there, which the Feshie has been widening ever since. I remember coming here in winter once when it had been wet and icy. That cliff was frozen solid, and then the sun rose and was shining on it, melting ice and loosening the stones, and you could see and hear lots of stones falling off the cliff into the Feshie. Erosion at work before my eyes. And the Feshie itself at the moment is very, very low. All these shingle banks are often underwater when it's high. At the moment, I think I could paddle across the Feshie, never mind this stream here. But now I will go up. You can see the path that's been made up the far side, which leads to the steps of the original path, though even the top of the new path you can see has eroded away. But I'll be heading up there and continuing on up Glen Feshie. This is another spot where the power of the water took away the path. In this case, the River Feshie here swept away the path which went across there. It's still fairly impassable when the river is high, and there's now a higher path goes up through the woods there across those steep slopes. Part of that has since eroded away, so it's had to go a little bit higher to get round. But when the river is low like this, and it is very low, I'm not sure I've ever seen it this low before, you can just walk across these pebbles and then join the path on the other side, which is what I'm going to do. But this is another reminder that this is a very mobile landscape, constantly changing. My camping Glen Feshie on a sunny morning with a very light breeze. I had a good night's sleep with the tent doors wide open, which is probably the last time this summer I'll be doing that, because I imagine in not too many weeks, if you camped here on a calm night, you'd have to be well zipped in because of the midges. But it's a bit early for them yet. I have, as you can see, got the midge netting in a tent installed. I didn't need it last night. I brought it, I must admit, mainly laziness. It was already attached to the outer, and I didn't see any reason to detach it when I'd have to be attaching it again soon. So I left it in place and just left the door open. This is the Mountain Laurel Design Solo Mid XL, which is extremely roomy for a solo tent with great headroom. I'll walk around it a bit. You can see the situation. It's a beautiful spot in the Caledonian forest, surrounded by old trees and a lot of the new regeneration that's occurring since the Wildland Conservation Group took the estate under its control and started allowing it to restore to nature. I spotted this site through the trees from the path. I thought it looked like it might be quite good. When I came over here, I discovered, unsurprisingly, that others had thought the same. There's a very old fire ring, long disused here, and a much newer one that looks like it's been used recently, and also a cut stump. Someone has brought a saw in and sawn down, hopefully dead wood, not live wood, though overall it would be better if they didn't do that at all. But despite that, as I say, it's a magnificent spot, fantastic views of the glen, and I've been happy to spend some time here, knowing, as I say, that it won't be long before midges would make this a place to pack up and move on very quickly. As I say, the Solo Mid XL has masses of room, even with the inner net tent erected. You can see here there's tons of room in the porch for cooking. I'm using the Fire Maple G3 pot, the bigger of the two Fire Maple petrol pots, and the Pocket Rocket Deluxe stove. I've brought the larger petrol pot because I am actually cooking some food in it. I haven't brought boiling the bag meals this time, and it is a much better pot for doing that, and also for eating out of. You can see I have the front of the porch raised high for ventilation, though as it's very dry there was no condensation. I can peg that down close to the ground if it's heavy rain or stormy. At the moment I could actually have slept out without the tent at all. And I've got a stream running on both sides of the tent. You can see there's a slight rise of the back again for ventilation. And lovely though it is to sit here, I would like to get up high and have a camp on the tops tonight, in which case I'd better soon pack up and start moving. So with a last look at the tent, I'll finish this little bit of video. So here's my seat, swinging round. You can see, as I say, there's juniper, the faint bit of path left that I'm following up, and then round to some old pines, and then Glen Feshie appears. You can see right down the glen to distant Moine Mhor hills, and around the glen you can see at the moment how narrow the river is because it's so low. And these are the slopes that I have just come up, and round again. Glen Feshie and hills, and back to the log I'm sitting on. As I say, this is a wonderful place for a break. I've just crossed the Alt Cairngorms on an old, well constructed footbridge with stonework either side, which is virtually hidden now. You can see vegetation. This is a lovely spot, lots of young trees springing up, as you can see, but this time of year what makes it is the broom, which you can see here. It's incredibly bright, beautiful yellow against the fresh green of the young birches. Again, another lovely spot for a brief halt before I continue up into Cairngorms and then Nambo, and then Nambo, and finally Munros. But for the moment I am just enjoying being here. I've also topped up my water bottle at the stream. It is a hot day and I need plenty of water, and the burn before this was dry. This one is just trickling, pretty low, but there is still enough water in it for me to get a drink. I'm camped by Loch Nappen, having come across the Moine Mhor at a fairly brisk rate from Munros, as there's a cold northeast wind. The wind is why, although it's still daylight, I'm in the tent in my sleeping bag with warm clothing on. it is chilly outside. The air temperature is 8 degrees. It feels quite a bit colder. But I've already had some hot cup of soup to warm me up. And shortly I'll be making dinner, which tonight is pasta and sauce, mac and cheese, a traditional backpacker staple. And I'll add extra cheese and some dried milk to it. It needs simmering for I think 5 minutes or so. I usually give it longer because I don't like crunchy macaroni. This stove, the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe, simmers really well, and this, the larger of the fire maple petrol pots with heat exchangers, is good for simmering. It's easy to stir because it's quite a wide pot, and easier to eat out of than a tall narrow one like the other petrol, which is the G3. Why the original one, the first one is the G3 and the larger second one is the G2, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a G1 which will be even bigger than this, and then they could have a G.5, G.25, who knows. It seems the wrong way round to me, but still, that's the naming of things like camera formats. Full frame, but no, it's not the biggest. There's medium format and large format, which are bigger than full frame, so full frame is sort of in the middle. And as for APS-C, which is what my camera is, we're talking about a long gone, not very successful film format, which nobody can really remember. So why APS-C, I don't know. But then again, why is my camera a mirrorless camera? Well, because it hasn't got a mirror. But why name a category of something for things they haven't got? You don't call electric vehicles petrol-less or diesel-less because they don't require it. But anyway, mirrorless seems to have become the accepted name for digital cameras without mirrors. Anyway, enough burbling on about the names of things. It's time to have my dinner, supper, not sure. Watch there's brightness over there. I think the sun is probably going down behind the clouds. No real colour in the sky. And given the breeze, I'm not going to go out and wander about to find out. But I'm hoping for my walk over to Sgorgui tomorrow that it'll be clear and there might even be some sunshine. Anyway, that'll do for now. I might record some more in the morning. It's just after 6 in the morning and the sun woke me, rising just over Sgor Loch and Wain. The wind dropped completely overnight. It's now dead calm. Reflections in the loch. Beautiful light. Swing around. There's Brereach. The sun is already quite high. And at the moment, it looks like being a lovely day. Having a rest stop below this bank, which gives me a bit of protection from the cold northeast wind that has sprung up. Still a beautiful day, and sitting here I can look back across rough terrain to Loch Nan Napan and Moine Mhor It's taken me an hour to get from the loch to here, but the terrain, which is rougher than it looks from here, is not a straight line, or at least walking in a straight line would be very difficult. There's lots of little knolls, lots of boulders, streams, pools. However, it's easier than it often is, as the bogs are quite dry. I've walked across ones today where normally I'd have been in danger of losing a boot, and that does mean I haven't had to zigzag about quite as much as usual. Swinging round the other way, you get across the Moine Mhor, and then up here behind my trekking poles is Cairngorms Moor, and out of sight is Scoregui, where I'm heading. This is a pool and ruin, a ruined little hut on the alternative route, the one I prefer, up Scoregui. You can see the path leading up to summit Scoregui there. The main route from Scoregui runs along the skyline there. There were some figures on it earlier, but they've disappeared over the top. The thing with this route is it follows the edge of the cliffs. It's a bit longer, but the views are much more spectacular. This is a section of the path along the edge of the crags going up Scoregui, a section where today I'm out of the wind for a short while. Some of the way I've had to hang onto my hat to avoid losing it. Anyway, this is just to give an idea this path is like, and if you swing round you can see more of the crags, and then there's Brereach, and down there you can see the end of Loch Einich. Right the way down you can see there's some old snow in the gully just below, where it must be mostly shielded from the sun, and then round to the head of Glen Feshie, where the Moine Mhor breaks up into all these little crags and collapses into the corrie. Here you can see the two routes starting to converge. The main route, two walkers on it, on the right, and my route along the edge to the left. I'll be going back along the main route and over Cairngorms Moor, but the route I've taken up, I'm almost at the summit now, you can see it there on the left, and right the way round to the Moine Mhor, where I was camped last night. This is the view from the very top of Scoregui, looking down to Loch Einich and across to Brereach. If I swing the camera round, You can see the edge along which I came, and the Moine Mhor, and then the main path stretching out clearly to Cairngorms Moor, the way I'll be going. And then down there is Glen Feshie, where I am heading. Almost back down in Glen Feshie, just at the top of the forest. So I'm coming to the end of what has been an excellent and varied walk. I must admit, I'm quite glad. So I swing round, you can see the path coming down. It's stepped in places, the steps are too big, so it's an awkward stony path, and it's very hot and dry down here. And I suppose I've had a fairly long day in the sun, but up there it has been wonderful, and down here it is wonderful. I go round again. Clack of Lair, at least the shoulder of it, just up there where I was yesterday at Glen Feshie. You can see the river, and there's my path into the trees and out to the road and the car, and the end of this little trip. I hope you've enjoyed it.